One American has gone above and beyond to cast their ballot. NASA astronaut Kate Rubins voting from the International Space Station. That must mean it's time for Space Watch. Joining me live is astrophysicist and cosmologist Brad Tucker. This was interesting. I mean, I don't think the election's going to come down to this, but good on her for having a say. How does this all work? I mean, who counts them? You're going to know, aren't you? You're going to recognise the handwriting, whatever happens there?
Obviously, this is one of the issues about this voting is you have to give up a bit of your secrecy. So all astronauts, or essentially most U.S. astronauts, live in Texas, specifically near Houston or Johnson Space Center. So back in '97, the Texas electoral law essentially said if you put your absentee location as low Earth orbit, you can have your ballot essentially transmitted through another party. Because normally, obviously, you have to be able to do it. So it says NASA can essentially get your ballot, send it to you in space electronically, you fill it out, and then you send it back to NASA, who then submits it to the government on your behalf.
Well, there you go. Look, Texas is closer perhaps than it normally will. So if it goes down to a vote, that'll be the picture you're seeing on election day.
That's right, from that voting booth. Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk about the moon. More water found there than previously realised. What I didn't realise about this is it matters where it is. We think of the moon as you're just on it, there's a bit of light coming from the sun, there's not much gravity, but there's a huge difference in temperature, right? So it matters where this water is.
That's exactly right. I mean, because of the lack of atmosphere, or essentially no atmosphere, the moon has huge temperature swings depending on the shadowy areas or the sunlit areas. So, you know, you're not talking about differences of 20 degrees here on the Earth. You're talking about differences of hundreds of degrees Celsius. So when previously we've seen ice, it's been in those dark, cold, shadowy areas where it's really cold, it can stay frozen. In the sunlit areas, it's really warm. So the discovery that there was water contained in this soil, in this sunny area, means A, its ability to be accessed is a bit easier for future astronauts, and B, it's a bit of a surprise that it's still there and hasn't evaporated off ultimately.
Yeah. So, I mean, how much are we talking? Is this going to be the big space fight? Do you claim areas like Antarctica and the sort of mess that's been over the years?
Well, look, this is actually one of the issues and worries, right? Firstly, when there was just one part that was potentially hinted at the South Pole, there was a worry that, hey, it would be just a rush and digging around it. If there really is more and people can kind of spread out, yeah, there will be a bit of a land grab, and some laws and policies, you know, as we talked about, are trying to circumvent this, even something that the former defense minister, Chris Pine, said, hey, we need to get control of. So hopefully they do it well, and the fact that the belief is that if there is more than we thought, maybe the competition will be a bit less and it could be a little bit more collegial than just a rush land grab.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Just finally, when looking into the Milky Way, our own galaxy, of course, and I'm not quite sure how to phrase this, so it was more mature than we previously thought when it was not quite all grown up.
Yeah, galaxies, like humans, take time to evolve and take time to grow. And when we look at their kid age, galaxies, like kids, go through a big growth spurt. This happens about 1 billion years after the Big Bang. And so a new survey looked at galaxies going through this growth spurt area in part and said, hey, they're actually a lot larger than we already thought, that they kind of were bigger going into the growth spurt than they thought. And this was looking at kind of what the content is, so how much stuff there is, both the ingredients to form stars and the gas and stuff that will be stars. And so it actually appears that, you know, in their toddler phase, some of these galaxies were actually coming out bigger than we previously thought. Because this is all about how fast galaxies grow. How fast galaxies grow determine how big stars get, and eventually when stars like our solar system come into existence along with the Earth. So if they're starting bigger than earlier than thought, then maybe more complex solar systems like our own could have existed earlier in the universe.
Now you're just making me think of a big fat toddler, but there you go. Brad Tucker. I like how you themed it today. You got in for the US election. Do you have you voted from here as well?
I have. I don't get to vote via NASA. I had to fax my vote in using the fancy technology that is a fax. Wow. That's right. In California, you can fax your vote in instead of mail it in, so I chose the fax route. I just had to find a fax machine first.
Well, as long as you avoid a hanging Chad.
That's right.
Brad Tucker.